Hello friends! The theme for this flow is cheerful. Our scripture today is a short one, but by no means simple. It is Proverbs 17:22, and it says this: "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." So, today we're going to be doing a quick stretch to get your body moving. This would be a good one to do maybe first thing in the morning, or if you just need a break during the day, maybe something to help you focus. So we're going to begin by standing at the top of the mat. And we'll inhale the arms overhead and exhale. The left arm will drop to the side as we reach the fingertips to the left, pushing that right hip towards the right, grounding down all along the right side of the body to feel that side stretch. And then we're going to follow the fingertips down like you're drawing a circle towards the ground as you come forward into forward fold. And then we'll unroll to stand, and we'll do that on the other side. Inhaling those arms overhead. This time the right arm drops and you lean to the right, sending your left hip over to the left, reaching with those left fingertips. And then we're going to fold forward again, allowing the fingertips to kind of draw that semicircle down to the floor. And then we will unroll to stand. Inhale the arms overhead, and we'll do this one more time. The left arm drops to the side. Reach to the left with the right fingertips, and then your gaze can go up to the fingertips and then look down towards the floor. Trace your circle with your fingertips as you come into your forward fold, and then we will unroll to stand. Inhale the arms overhead, and this time the right arm drops. Reach to the right with those left fingertips, pushing the left hip towards the left. Look up to the fingertips, and then shift your gaze down to the floor. Drawing your circle down into your forward fold. Unroll to stand. Inhale the arms overhead, and on an exhale, bring the hands down to the sides. We are now going to do like a reverse roll. So tuck the chin in and very slowly begin to fold forward, trying to think about each of the vertebrae as you come down into ragdoll position. And we'll hang here for just a moment. This really allows the spine to decompress. You may want to rock side to side here, or even grab the elbows. You're welcome to keep the knees generously bent. It's whatever feels good to you here. It might feel nice to tuck the chin in right here. And then we will unroll to stand, taking the arms overhead one more time, bringing them back through heart center as you sink the hips back for chair pose. So try to keep your spine organized here. See if you can still see the toes on each foot so that your knees aren't sticking drastically ahead of the toes. Take an inhale breath here. And on your exhale, forward fold. We'll unroll to stand. We'll do this one more time. So those arms come overhead. And on your next exhale, find your chair pose. Taking those hands down into heart center, this time we are going to take a twist. So we'll come to the right side. The left elbow will come to the right knee, and we'll inhale here and say our breath prayer, a cheerful heart. And then our exhale will say, does good like medicine. We'll come into our forward fold and unroll to stand. Inhaling those arms overhead. Exhale the hands to heart center as you find your chair pose once more. Take an inhale breath, and on your exhale, we will twist to the left. So you are twisting from your mid-spine, keeping your hips nice and stable. That right elbow comes to meet the left thigh or knee. And while you're here, you can shift your gaze up or down, but we will inhale and say, a cheerful heart does good like a medicine. Okay, let's come into our forward fold one more time and unroll to stand. Inhale the arms overhead, and on an exhale, we will take the arms wide as we swan dive into our forward fold, coming up to a halfway lift, and then we will take the hands down to the mat as we step back into our downward dog. Now you're welcome to bend the knees here, whatever feels right to you, pedaling the heels, checking in with the body, grounding down through all points of the fingers. Maybe shake the head out yes and no to release the neck. And so while you're here, I have a story for you. When I was a child, my parents bought me a book titled Grumbleweeds, and it had an important lesson about complaining, because apparently I grumbled over all kinds of chores, which really stole joy from the moment. It was not fun to be around. And this was such an important lesson for me as a child in mindfulness. But of course, looking at things glass half full isn't something you learn once from a book as a child. It's a practice we work on our whole lives, right? Okay, let's find stillness. We will drop to the knees and come into our tabletop position. So take that time to find your stability where your knees are hip width distance below the hips. Wrists are directly below the shoulders, and you have that nice flat back. So we are going to take the left leg straight behind us, and we're going to kind of rock back and forth, pulsing here, feeling that stretch into the hamstring. Let's take a breath in and let it go. And now we're going to switch sides, so bring that left knee back below the left hip and take the right leg out straight behind you as now you pulse on that right foot, rocking front and forward, seeing what you notice as you're here. And so I know that sometimes the silver lining in a situation can be so difficult to see, but there is somehow always a silver lining, even if we can't perceive it. That is part of trusting God. And sometimes we just have to ask, what is God trying to teach me? Is it patience, planning, perseverance? Okay, let's come back to our tabletop position. We're going to sit back on the heels and take a moment to circle our hands to get a stretch through the wrist and into the forearms. And then we will take the right arm across the chest, hugging it in with the left hand. And then we will take the hands behind us, opening the chest. So you're grasping the hands behind you, feeling the front of your chest opening up as you lift your gaze high. And then we'll come back to center, taking the left arm across the chest and hugging it in with the right arm. And then one more time, take the hands behind you, clasping them as you do this heart-opening pose, lifting your head. Take an inhale breath. A merry heart, exhaling, does good like medicine. And then we'll come forward, placing the head onto the ground just lightly, lifting the arms up behind us. Go ahead and release the hands and bring them to the mat as we gently come back into our seated position. And from here, we're going to take the feet together into a butterfly pose. You're welcome to give the feet a quick massage, touching each of the toes, rubbing the soles of the foot and the heels. Sometimes that tactile touch is such a beautiful way to help you feel grounded. So go ahead and rock yourself side to side while you're here, making sure that you're seated on the sit bones as you roll your shoulders back, keeping a tall posture here. And we're going to lean forward from the hips. And you're welcome to kind of walk your your sit bones closer to the feet if that feels good, but let's keep this active so that we're not rounding the spine here as you lean forward in your butterfly pose. And so from this scripture, we can see that happiness is often a choice, and we have to make that choice by repeatedly seeking to give thanks from the smallest of things to the biggest. So what can you decide to be cheerful about today? All right, we're going to roll to the back. You can use your hands to gently lift the knees into the chest, and we'll roll back and forward just a few times until ultimately you can use your momentum to plant the feet and come to standing. Go ahead and unroll to stand, inhaling those arms overhead one more time, exhaling the hands through heart center. And that is it for our practice today. I hope that you enjoyed this practice, that this message spoke to you to be cheerful and to actively seek to find cheer in the smallest of ways. So if you need a reminder, remember to take a breath in and say, "A cheerful heart," and exhale does good like medicine. I would love for you to Selah here. That is that time for you to rest or pause, reflect or meditate, and then respond however feels right for you. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you next time.